She had reached the point where she felt she had exhausted every method she could think of. Vision boards covered her walls. She charged crystals under the moon, repeated affirmations morning, noon, and night. She journaled gratitude at sunrise, wrote her intentions in shimmering gold ink, memorized manifestation techniques from countless coaches. And still, nothing shifted. Her relationship stayed the same. The money she prayed for never arrived. Her energy didn't just feel stuck. It felt hollow, drained, almost echoing. And then one quiet afternoon, something subtle but life-altering occurred. She was strolling through the park with no agenda, no spiritual practice in motion, no mantras looping in her mind, just walking, empty, calm, almost numb. And in that pause, when everything inside her went silent, she glanced up. It felt as if the entire field around her tilted. A thought rose, not from her mind, but through her being. You've been trying to manifest from the frequency of not having. The realization washed over her so powerfully she almost stopped walking. Every affirmation she understood had been soaked in urgency. Every vision board had quietly implied, "You aren't there yet." Every intention was fueled by separation instead of embodiment. And that was the day she stopped trying. And strangely, that's when life began responding. What changed? This isn't just her story, it's a quantum truth most people completely overlook. The field doesn't react to your words. It reacts to your energetic precision. And most people are sending mixed signals instead of clarity. We've been conditioned to think manifestation needs complexity. Constant work, endless rituals, daily mental workouts. But what if all that noise is the very barrier blocking your reality from shifting? What if the real power has always been hidden in simplicity? There's a reason mystics, sages, and even quantum physicists all point to the same principle. Reality collapses for the observer not through force but through coherence, through matching the frequency with such stillness that alignment becomes natural. But most people don't practice stillness, they practice obsession. They want something so intensely that their entire field becomes distorted. Their minds fill with strategies, their hearts with doubt, and their energy broadcasts chaos. And the quantum field, which mirrors your dominant signal, reflects that chaos right back to you. This is the paradox. The harder you chase a manifestation, the further it drifts. Not because the universe denies you, but because the effort itself asserts, "I don't have it," and the quantum world takes that frequency as fact. The woman in the story didn't manifest because she gave up. She manifested because she surrendered the noise long enough to finally tune into the signal. She stopped vibrating effort. She started vibrating spaciousness. And the universe cannot resist a coherent field. So in this video, I'm not adding another technique to your list. I'm dissolving the complexity. I'm showing you why the simplest shift is the most potent, and why almost no one practices it. Because simplicity demands trust, and trust is the real spiritual initiation. In the next part, we'll explore the physics behind why simplicity works, why clean signals collapse reality, and why trying so hard to do it right is the very thing blocking the connection. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything correctly but nothing is moving, stay with me. The truth is far simpler than you've been taught, and that's exactly why it's overlooked. Why does simplicity work? And why do we instinctively resist it? Because most people don't actually desire alignment. They desire control, and control is the opposite of alignment. Let's go deeper. Quantum mechanics tells us reality isn't fixed. It exists as probabilities until consciousness interacts with it. But here's the hidden piece. It's not intention alone that shapes reality. It's the coherence behind the intention. Picture trying to tune a radio. You twist the dial but keep slipping between stations. Static, fragments of music, interference. That's what most people do vibrationally, asking for clarity while vibrating confusion, seeking love while radiating insecurity, wanting abundance while fearing lack, longing for peace while overthinking every outcome. So the field responds with more static, because the quantum field doesn't interpret language. It interprets frequency, and frequency must be stable to register. Manifestation suddenly becomes far easier when you remove the layers of force, effort, and control. In that stillness, your signal sharpens, your emotion steadies, your intention becomes clear. Quantum physics even has a name for this: decoherence, when a system loses its unified state by entangling with too many variables. Spiritually, you are that quantum system, and when you entangle yourself with doubt, comparison, overthinking, so external validation, you lose clarity. Your field becomes scrambled. That's why people who manifest effortlessly always seem so relaxed, not careless, just clear. They've stopped trying to manipulate. They've become the embodiment of the result. Not in words, in vibration. This is where simplicity becomes a superpower. When you clear the emotional noise, you offer the field a clean template to reflect. Manifestation stops being confusing. It becomes a mirror. And when your inner world simplifies, your outer world accelerates. Less resistance, less drag, fewer conflicting broadcasts. This isn't fantasy, it's physics. David Bohm, a pioneer in quantum theory, described reality as an implicate order, a unified field of infinite information where everything influences everything. Your feelings, beliefs, and frequencies fold into that field and unfold back into your experience. So ask yourself, what are you imprinting into the field? Coherence or complication? Neutrality or noise? Clarity or effort? Most people are programmed to believe success and love must be earned through struggle. So when someone says it can be simple, the mind rejects it. Why? Because simplicity threatens the ego's identity. If it's simple, then the ego asks, why have I been working so hard? This is where spirituality and quantum science meet. Simplicity isn't a shortcut, it's your original frequency. When you return to that unburdened state, the universe doesn't need convincing. It simply aligns. In the next part, I'll reveal the energetic pattern that keeps most people looping, and how to finally break it. You'll see why wanting is often the very force blocking the having. Because the field doesn't give you what you crave. It gives you what you consistently embody. And the simpler your frequency, the faster your reality rearranges. Stay close. The shift doesn't happen when you push. It happens when you allow. Let's talk about the biggest trap: wanting. Wanting sounds like desire, but it isn't. Desire is expansion, wanting is lack. Desire says, this would be beautiful. Wanting says, without this, I'm incomplete. And the quantum field always mirrors your dominant state, not your words, your vibration. When you operate from wanting, even with the purest intentions, your energy broadcasts. It's not here. I don't have it yet. I'm waiting. And the field replies with precision. Correct. It's not here. Quantum physics explains this through superposition. Multiple versions of your life existing simultaneously. The wealthy you, the healed you, the loved you, the empowered you, they all exist in the field now. You don't pull these versions toward you, you tune into them. You collapse their probability through resonance. Alignment doesn't come from force, it comes from identity. When you're stuck in wanting, your identity is lack. When you shift into being, you embody the version of you who already has it. And that collapses the timeline with ease. Spiritual teachers and quantum mystics agree, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And here's the twist most teachers skip. You can't fake the frequency. You can't speak abundance while vibrating fear. You can't affirm love while secretly expecting abandonment. The field responds to coherence, not words. That's why simplicity is so powerful. It dissolves the emotional charge of wanting and opens you to receiving. Think about people who manifest effortlessly. They weren't tracking signs every hour, they weren't begging the universe. They were simply being, relaxed, trusting, aligned. Wanting contracts your energy. Being expands it. So how do you shift? Not through effort, but through identity. You stop trying to become the person who has it, and start acting like the person who would never question it. You don't visualize to create. You visualize to stabilize. You don't affirm to convince. You affirm to embody. The moment you shift from wanting to being, the field reorganizes itself around your new signal. In the next part, you'll learn a morning practice so simple yet powerful that your energy will start shifting almost immediately. Not through force, but through coherence. Because once your nervous system believes the already, your reality must follow. So how do you actually make the shift from wanting to being? It begins in the very first moments of your morning, the most energetically sensitive part of your day. Most people wake up straight into separation, grabbing their phone, remembering problems, replaying limitations. But you can break that loop with a simple morning ritual called the Already Frequency Protocol. Step 1. Wake into stillness. Before touching anything, place a hand on your heart. Close your eyes and take a slow breath in for 5 seconds. Hold for 5, exhale for 7. Do this 3 times. This drops your brain waves into the alpha-theta range and activates the heart's electromagnetic field, the most powerful signal your body emits. Step 2. Speak your chosen frequency as if it's happening now. Not from hope, from presence. Something like, today I walk as abundance. I am the frequency of love. I magnetize without effort. Keep it simple. 1 or 2 frequencies spoken cleanly create far more coherence than long lists spoken in desperation. Step 3. Feel it for 90 seconds. Let your nervous system absorb the state. Let your breath carry it. You're not trying to make it happen. You're reminding your body what's already true in the quantum field. And once your body believes, the field aligns. This is simplicity at work. The field doesn't need 20 steps, it needs clarity. And when your inner signal sharpens, everything outside you begins accelerating. Synchronicities increase, resistance fades, timelines shift. You stop chasing life. Life begins moving toward you. Now anchor this shift by writing "I let it in" the comments. Let that be your declaration. In the next part, we'll explore why simplicity feels threatening and how your subconscious becomes addicted to complexity. Because once you break that addiction, manifestation becomes natural, effortless, aligned. Here's the truth no one talks about. Most people aren't afraid their desires won't come. They're afraid they will, and their current identity won't know who to be once they arrive. This fear keeps people trapped in spiritual busywork and unconscious resistance to simplicity. Because simplicity demands one thing the ego cannot imitate: surrender. And surrender feels like extinction to the part of you that believes survival comes from effort, struggle, constant fixing. So when someone tells you, "It's already done," your mind panics. "But if I stop trying, won't everything fall apart?" This is the contradiction. You crave ease, but you feel safest in effort. You want flow, but you trust struggle. Your nervous system associates peace with danger, and complexity becomes your emotional home. Neuroscience shows the brain builds models to predict safety. If your history taught you that results come from stress, then simplicity feels wrong, even if it's exactly what you need. In quantum manifestation, this becomes a feedback loop. You think you're manifesting something new, but your field still broadcasts old emotional patterns. This is why true simplicity is difficult. It requires releasing the identity that feels powerful in complexity. But here's the freedom. When you stop identifying as the one who must try, you become available to receive timelines you could never force. The version of you who already has what you want isn't stressed. She isn't checking signs every hour. She isn't praying from panic. She wakes up and radiates coherence. This is who you're remembering. To stay in this frequency, you must learn emotional neutrality, not numbness, but non-attachment. When doubt arises, you notice it without spiraling. When the urge to control appears, you breathe instead of acting. You become the one who observes without collapsing. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this the memory of your future, emotionally anchoring into a reality that already exists in the field. Because the field doesn't respond to what you do, but who you are while doing it. And who you are beneath the noise is already powerful. In the next part, I'll show you how to maintain this state, not through effort, but through presence. Because detachment is not about not caring. It's about trusting that the field can deliver better than your mind can imagine. And when you embrace that truth, everything that once felt stuck begins to open. Now we arrive at the final piece. How do you stay in this frequency of coherence when life tries to pull you back into urgency and doubt? You don't resist the pull. You return to your knowing, again and again, gently, consistently. Manifestation isn't magic, it's resonance. And resonance isn't built through force, it's built through repetition of being. Consistency in emotion, consistency in presence, consistency in identity. You're not here to manipulate outcomes. You're here to embody the reality already chosen. In quantum language, you select timelines not with actions but with the vibrational signature you broadcast, the emotional tone you live in, the energetic posture you hold. Most people chase tools hoping one will finally work, but no tool can override an identity rooted in lack. So here is the practice. Let it be simple, let it be clear, let it be done. The moment you stop asking, when will it come? Your field stabilizes, because the field follows frequency, not time. Walk through your day allowing your energy to speak louder than your words. Let your presence be coherence. Let your posture say, it's already mine. When your thought, emotion, and embodiment align, you become magnetic. And here is the paradox that rewrites everything. The moment you no longer need it is the moment you collapse into the version of reality where it already exists. Needing is a frequency, having is a state. You don't need to convince the universe, you only need to convince your nervous system. Let it feel wholeness, let it breathe ease, let it remember the simplicity of being. Because that is the true science of manifestation. At the quantum level, you don't collapse reality by pushing, but by becoming the version of yourself who never needed to push at all. And now that you've remembered this truth, the field has already shifted. It's listening, it's responding, it's rearranging. If something inside you softened, if you felt clarity or resonance, let that be your new baseline. And if you want to keep expanding with us, not just content, but frequency, subscribe. This space isn't about followers, it's about resonance. And if you're still here, you're not here by coincidence. You're remembering what your soul always knew. It was never meant to be hard. It was only meant to be aligned. And alignment is far simpler than you think.